Hello, this is Ken Rivest with RWD Innovative Specialty Trims. We're coming to you today from our newly expanded facility here in Florida. Today we want to cover some best practices for installation. So one of the tips about installing our trim is to have the temperature of the trim acclimated to the interior of the home. So what we recommend is to bring a box of trim on the inside of the house so that it can acclimate to the temperature of the room. 70 to 90 degrees is the ideal temperature to install the trim. Here's a tip. If adhesive is very sticky to the touch, it will bond adequately to a properly prepared surface. So the proper solvent to clean the window frame for proper adhesion of our trim would be 100% denatured alcohol. This material comes in different forms. It can be in a wipey or it can be in a can. You can put it in a spray bottle. You can apply it many ways. The easiest method is actually to just take a little bit on a rag, wipe the window down adequately, clean it, and let the alcohol evaporate. We can't stress enough the importance of using the proper solvent to clean the window frame. RWD only recommends denatured alcohol. Now that we've properly cleaned the window frame, let's talk a little bit about sizing the window trim properly for the application. One of the unique things about the RWD trim is the applied score line right down the middle of our trim. This will allow the installer to split the product directly in half, many times being able to use the 1 and 1 1/4 inch strip all the way around the window. So like most installs, we were able to, for this situation, split the trim directly in half. A very, very important tip is that the full width of the adhesive is applied to the window mainframe. Due to the natural memory of our trim, we recommend, before installing it on the window, to just back bend a little bit, not too sharply, 3 to 4 inches at the very end. This will create a much flatter, nicer joint. One of the tips we recommend is pulling a small amount of the backer away from the adhesive and putting it in place on the window. This way you can dry run and make sure it's laying down perfectly. Once it's laying down perfectly, you can then pull the liner a little at a time, putting a small amount of pressure, at the same time making sure there's at least a 1/16 of an inch gap between the window mainframe and the opening. This will keep it from binding and pinching, causing adhesive failure. One of the products that we supply with our trim is this handy roller for installing and pressing down the trim. A common and simple mistake that we hear a lot about is the installer applying the trim too tightly. The installer will push it too hard and create a bow. One of the critical errors we come across from time to time is a novice installer overlapping the trim onto the window. This will not allow the adhesive to properly bond in this area.
Hey, this is Matt Rivest, RWD Innovative Specialty Trims partner and production manager. Just wanted to share a couple quick tips on the proper way to store the RWD extended trim. The best way to store the RWD product is laying it flat. It's going to keep it from sagging. And if you're going to keep it for more than a month and not use it, try to put it in a controlled environment. Therefore, it's not going to lose its memory. So the best way to store that in the colder temperatures is definitely going to be inside, and that's going to be in a controlled environment. If it's cold outside, you keep it in the trailer, it's going to make the tape knot tacky, therefore it's not going to stick. So I would suggest putting it inside in a controlled environment. We actually started to put print on all the products at 5-foot increments. Therefore, when you pull the product out, you're going to know every 5 foot of how much you have left in that box.
So we hope today these tips and tricks will help your installer perform a great job for your customers.